Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast. Do you dread hearing the question, what's for dinner? Whether you spend your days keeping up with toddlers, running kids to after-school activities, or juggling a career and family, getting dinner on the table can be a struggle for us all. I'm Mariefiebach, a business owner, wife, and mom of 4. I'm on a mission to build stronger families one dinner at a time, and I'm here with tips, tricks, and inspiration you need to feed your family tonight. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Feed Your Family Tonight podcast, episode 150. I'm your host, Mariefiebach. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today, we're talking about 4 tips to feed your family during a tough season of life. If you have ever had a season of life where there's just a lot of life happening for lots of different reasons, and fixing dinner feels overwhelming, then you are in the right place. Today, we're kind of going to do a deep dive into some ways to help ease the burden of feeding your family when you're in a tough season. These can be short, tough seasons, and they can be longer, tough seasons. The tips work for both. I was recently on the Kroger website, and right at the front of the website, they said the average person makes 221 food-related decisions every day. 221 decisions, friends. And if you're a mom, I bet you can double or triple that. That is a lot of decisions about food that we are making every day. And when we hit a hard season of life and our bandwidth gets a little bit shorter, those decisions feel heavy and burdensome. There's times where we just don't feel like cooking. And there's times when life kind of gets the best of us. I personally have had a few weeks where life has kind of gotten the best of me. It wasn't any big deal, but there was just a lot of little things that kept piling one on top of the other. And when you put them all together, it stole a lot of my brain space and it stole a lot of my bandwidth. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm at Feed Your Family Tonight. You would know that a couple weeks ago, I accidentally dumped an entire pan of raw turkey egg roll meatballs all over my oven. And this little mishap was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And what you didn't see on Instagram is that I ended up on my kitchen floor in a ball sobbing. You know, we don't show those things on Instagram, but we're friends here. And I'm going to let you know a little more of the story. I had just finished my TV interview from home, and I was baking up what I had made on TV. And when I went to go put the pan into the oven, something happened and they slipped and all of the meatballs just dumped. And it was just too much for me. On a normal day, dumping a giant pan of meatballs would be really frustrating and really annoying. But on this particular day, there were so many other things that I had on my mind that it just did me in. And when I finished with my little sob fest, I looked like Tammy Faye Baker. I had television makeup just dripping down my face and mascara dripping down my face. I can look back now because I've kind of gotten past it and I can laugh a little bit. And I hope that you are laughing at the sight of me with like mascara and heavy makeup just dripping down my face because I was a sight to see. But I tell you this, friends, because we all have seasons where our bandwidth is thin. No one is immune from it. Sometimes these seasons are long and sometimes these seasons are short. Maybe for you, it's just a sports season for your kids where you are booked to the nines. And if one little domino falls out of place, then the whole chain just starts falling apart. Maybe it's a really busy season at work. I'm thinking of you accountants when March hits and you know that it's a marathon to get to the end of April with tax season. Maybe it's a season where you have a new baby and a toddler and a preschooler and all you want is 8 hours of sleep at least one night a week. Or maybe it's that you've got some family members that are sick And maybe it's a short illness, like you just have a kid that has the stomach bug and that just messes everything up for a couple of days. Or maybe it's a longer illness with a family member with something that's a little bit more serious and it takes a lot of appointments and brain power to face the illness. The thing about these seasons of life is they come, but we still have to feed our family. Even when life is really, really tough, we all still have to eat. And I'm here to help you feed your family during a busy season with a little bit less stress. Because heaven knows you're under enough stress when we hit these busy seasons or these difficult, tough seasons of life. There's plenty of stress to go around, and feeding your family can feel like just that straw that broke the camel's back. It's like me and the silly meatballs. That's what did me in, because I just didn't have any more bandwidth left. And feeding your family is just the thing that just bogs you down during these busy seasons. I've got some tips to help you ease the burden a little bit and get through the season. And honestly, sometimes getting through is enough. You don't even have to get through with perfection or grace. You just kind of have to get through. And these tips will help you get through. So I have 4 tips. And the first 2 tips are about being realistic. Tip number 1 is to not expect too much of yourself. In these seasons, you do not have to be Wonder Mom. Your family meals do not have to be 100% homemade. They don't even have to be 100% nutritionally perfect. So many times we self-impose ideals that really feel like burdens when we hit these tough seasons. And I'm wanting you to think about some self-imposed ideals that you may have that maybe you can lessen during this time of stress. Will your kids be okay if the banana isn't organic? Maybe your family ideal is that you only eat organic produce. Will your kids be okay if the only veggies that they eat are baby carrots and frozen peas? Maybe you have a family ideal of having a variety of vegetables all the time. You want to remember that you are only one person, and you are likely the person that is bearing the emotional burden of feeding your family. I talked about that in episode 75 if you want to go back and listen. And it goes back to that Kroger thing where there are hundreds of decisions that we make as a mom every day regarding feeding our family. And most of them are subconscious decisions, but we're still making them and they are still taking brain space. When your bandwidth is narrow, you need to keep your expectations of yourself realistic. You need to remember that feeding your family is enough. Chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, cold cereal all count as dinner. It is okay. So think about your ideals and see where maybe you can loosen those a little bit just for a season when you're really in that trying to get through. Tip number 2 is related to tip number 1, and that is do not expect too much of others. And this is kind of tricky, but it really needs to be said. If I am in a stressful time, you may want everyone in your family to kind of pitch in and do their share and do a little more and work together. Not a bad concept, but expectations must be clear. If you want your husband to empty the dishwasher before he goes to work in the morning, do you ask him to empty the dishwasher before he goes to work in the morning? You can't expect others to just pitch in and help, even though that's what we really, really want sometimes. You have to make your expectations clear with them. This goes for your kids too. You can't just say, I need you to help and pitch in a little bit more. You need to be really clear with your family members, and you need to be really specific in what you ask them to help you with. Going back to the example of the dishwasher, ask your husband if he can help you out by just emptying the dishwasher before he goes to work. If you've got a teenager that's getting home from school in the afternoon, can you have them take the crock pot insert that you prepped the night before with that chicken tortilla soup? Have them take the crock pot insert and put it into the crock pot, plug it in and turn it on high If you ask that of a teenager, I also recommend going to their phone and setting an alarm to remind them, because teenagers can get a little flaky, and sometimes just setting an alarm on their phone to remind them that will help. You might even set a bunch of alarms for yourself so that you don't forget to do things. Having others help you is really, really good, but ask for very specific things from them and make expectations very clear so that you're not disappointed that they're not helping you in the way that you need the help. Tip number 3 is to look for ways to simplify. Where can you make life a little bit easier in this season? Small little shifts will add up. I usually buy a 5-pound bag of carrots and I peel them and cut them into carrot sticks, and that's how my family likes to have carrots. But when we hit a busy season, I am buying the baby carrots. I know they don't taste as good. I know my family prefers the other kind, but it's a small little shift that saves me a little bit of time and a little bit of brain space. Maybe you like to make homemade bread, and this is the season where you're going to buy it at the grocery store. Or maybe you're like me and you usually go to 2 grocery stores a week, and in this season you need to cut back and just go to 1 grocery store. And that may mean that you may not have your preferred brands of certain things. It may mean that it's going to cost you a little bit more money, but you have to think about what the monetary cost is versus the cost to your sanity and your brain space. Take this to the ninja level and get grocery pickup or grocery delivery. But when you are doing that, you need to be really, really sure that you are meal planning at the beginning of the week. If you don't have the Feed Your Family Tonight free weekly meal planning sheet, go to feedyourfamilytonight.com/plan and pick up your free weekly meal planning sheet. It's going to have you look at your schedule, and it's going to have you think about planning meals around what your life is really like. And when you're in a busy season and you're doing grocery delivery or grocery pickup, you need to be planning really, really well, so then you're not running to make extra trips to the grocery store to get things when A, you're too tired to cook and what you planned wasn't going to happen, or B, that you're planning meals that actually work with the reality of your schedule. You've got to be realistic with yourself. That kind of goes back to tip number 1, but it's really important, especially when you're looking for ways to simplify. What can you simplify from your weekly meal planning and the kinds of foods you're feeding your family in this season? Does it mean that your kids are going to get hot lunch at school every day rather than having lunch from home? Maybe it's that you're going to have the same 10 meals for an entire month over and over again. In really busy, hard seasons, boring meals are a very good thing. It's okay to not have new and fresh ideas when you are in survival mode. If you have the luxury of knowing that a busy season is coming up, then do a deep dive grocery shopping trip and a deep dive shopping trip and get your house stocked up with the basics. I talk about deep dive grocery shopping in episode 99, and I always do a deep dive trip after Thanksgiving, either late November or early December, so that I can be ready for the gauntlet that is December in our house. December in our house is crazy. Most people's house is a little crazy in December, but my girls are always in a play, and that just makes it even more challenging. So I make sure my house is stocked with things like toilet paper and soap and canned goods and freezer foods so that I have more brain space. And when I have to go grocery shopping, all I'm getting is things that are fresh, like fresh meats and fresh vegetables. So episode 99 talks about that. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of energy if you know that a busy season is coming up. If you know a busy season is coming up, include extra backup meals in that deep dive shopping trip. I talk about backup meals in episode 4. They're anything that you can get on the table in 20 minutes or less with ingredients that you keep in your house all the time. And if you know you're going to be entering a busy season, having those backup meals as part of your regular meal plan is a really smart idea, because you know they're things your family will eat and you know that you can get them on the table fast. Look for ways to simplify. Tip number 4 is give yourself more cooking breaks. I talk about cooking breaks in episode 133. It is really important when you are in an intense or tough season to plan more cooking breaks. And there's a lot of different ways that you can get cooking breaks. It doesn't have to just be takeout. Stock up on some of your family's freezer favorites. If they like a frozen lasagna, in my house, it's bagged pot stickers from Trader Joe's. Plan for takeout. And you get so much more joy out of takeout if you put it on your meal plan and you can look forward to it all week than if you hit Friday night at 6:30 p.m. and everything is all just falling apart and you throw your arms up in frustration and you dial for pizza because you just don't have anything left. If you know that you've got this break coming at the end of the week and you're not going to cook dinner on Friday or Saturday night, it kind of helps you get through the hard times earlier in the week because you know you're getting a break. Put those breaks on your meal plan, put them on your calendar and plan for them, and you will get so much more joy out of your planned breaks. Another way to give yourself a cooking break, and I'm actually going to do a whole podcast on this because I think that it is underutilized, is using the grocery store as your takeout. Again, I've got a whole podcast coming about that in a couple of weeks, but this week on television, I made a chicken Caesar salad wrap, and it was rotisserie chicken, a bag of Caesar salad kit that had the salad dressing already in it, tortillas, and a little Parmesan cheese. Everything quickly purchased at the grocery store. Took me 5 minutes to assemble the sandwiches. It is a fast and easy no-cook meal, and the grocery store is full of hidden gems that if you can put the right things together, you can have semi-homemade meals that are less expensive than takeout, but fast and easy to make and still much easier on you as the cook. Everyone's going to hit some seasons in life where it's tough, but we still have to eat. It's okay if you don't want to cook. It's okay if you don't feel like cooking, but you still got to feed your family. And so I want you to be realistic with yourself, be realistic with others, and look for ways to simplify and schedule in those cooking breaks because that will ease the burden of a tough season so much. I cannot emphasize that enough. Friends, I hope that you are doing well, and I hope that these tough seasons don't hit you too frequently, but I hope that these tools kind of help you when they do come. For now, find me in the Feed Your Family Tonight Facebook group. I'd love to hear how you manage tough seasons when you are trying to feed your family. And follow me on Instagram if you want to see a little bit more of the behind the scenes of things that are happening in my family. I'm everywhere at Feed Your Family Tonight. I hope you're doing well. Take care.